Hi everyone! We're going to review today solving one-step equations. In solving equations, any equation, what you want to do is get the variable, which is often denoted as the letter x, by itself. To get the variable by itself, we use inverse operations. Now, inverse just means opposite. So, let's talk first about the basic four operations that we use the most: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Our opposite or inverse of addition is subtraction. Our opposite or inverse of subtraction is addition. The opposite of multiplication, or our inverse, is division. And the inverse of division is, you guessed it, multiplication. So let's try some examples. So here we have x plus 5 equals 4. Now, anytime I start to solve an equation, the first thing I do is I box in the variable. Not something you have to do, but this is a trick that can really help us out, because that reminds us what we have to have by itself. We want to get rid of what's outside the box. I also draw a line down from the equal sign, and I do that to remind myself whatever I do on one side of that line, I have to do on the other. Otherwise, it's not equal anymore, and I haven't balanced out that equation. So here we have plus 5, that's addition. I want to get the inverse, which is subtraction. So I need to subtract 5 to get rid of my adding 5. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Now, a positive 5 minus 5, that's 0, so it just cancels each other out. And then I simplify the other side. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Now I still have the x on the other side and the equal sign, so I just bring those down, and I have my answer. So, not too bad. Let's try another one. Here we have subtraction. So, n minus 6 equals 9. I still start out the same way. I always box in the variable to remind myself what I need to get by itself. And I draw the line down to remind myself that whatever happens on one side has to happen on the other. Here we have subtraction. We need the inverse. The inverse of subtraction is addition. So I want to add 6 instead of subtract 6 to get rid of it. What I do on one side, I have to do on the other. Now, negative 6 plus 6 is 0. They cancel each other out. And then on the other side, 9 plus 6 is 15. I still have n and my equal sign, so those just come down. So n equals 15 is my answer. Now, we've tried addition, subtraction. Let's try multiplication. Here I have 3z equals 12. Now, just because there's no multiplication sign in between 3 and the variable doesn't mean that there's no operation there. A number beside a variable means multiplication. So 3z, 3 times z. I still box in my variable, draw my line. I have multiplication. I want the inverse, which is division. So what I need to do is, to get rid of my 3, is to divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so that's going to cancel each other out in that multiplication problem. But what I do on one side, I have to do on the other. So 3 over 3, that cancels. 1z is the same thing as z, so we just drop the 1. And then on the other side, 12 divided by 4, divided by 3 is 4. And then I bring down my z and my equal sign. Z's by itself, so we are done. We have our answer. Alright, the only one we haven't covered is division. Let's try it. Okay, so first things first, I box in my variable and draw my line down from the equal sign. Alright, so you notice here we have a negative in front of the y over 4, which means I'm just going to make that 4 on the bottom negative. It doesn't really matter where that negative sign goes. It can go on the top, it can go on the bottom, but I want y by itself, so I'm going to put that negative with the 4. So here I'm dividing, and I want the inverse, multiplication. So we talked about keeping the negative with the 4, so if I'm dividing by negative 4, I want to multiply by negative 4. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Well, a negative 4 on the top of a fraction, or multiplied by negative 4 on the bottom of a fraction, those cancel each other out. It gives us 1. 1y is the same thing as just y. So I just mark those numbers out. And then 8 times negative 4 on the other side is negative 32. Y is still there and equals is still there, so I just bring those down. Y is by itself, and that means we are done. All right, so the secret to mastering math, it's not a secret. Ask your questions when you need help. So if you don't get something, just ask. That's what I'm here for. And then the most important thing is to practice, practice, practice. All right, guys. See you next time.